Because how can you not be genetically insane when someone has bred you like an animal, treated you like trash, and then infused in you self-hatred? What else could you possibly get out of that?
Postman. Do you understand? Postman. Making peace in the land. Keep your head high, let the homies inspire. Turn pain into purpose, rise above the fire. From the streets to the mic, the wisdom is real. Hood postman teaching lessons you can feel. Every chant, every word, every scratch, every beat. West Coast energy, you can't compete. The streets are made for everyone, that's why they created sidewalks. Turn my circle into a square, that way I can see who's in my corner. The lion and the tiger may be more powerful, but you ain't never seen a wolf perform in the circus. Kings don't wrestle with clowns. Cool. Holla, 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 holla. Hood postman, hood postman. Hood postman, make it understand. Hood postman. He doing one hand. Hood postman.
Lock the door.
Sure.
Malik Mail, the Hood Postman. Malik, the 1980s represented a lot, bro. It was virtually, we was in a chemical warfare. From the food, from the water, to almost everything that was being supplied to us, anything we came in contact. You know a guy named Good Fred. Let's talk about Good Fred. Let's start right there. Good Fred.
Rest in peace to Brother Good Fred, a black entrepreneur, and God bless his family. They were one of the first families to, one of a few families that participated in the Jerry Curl era, or should I say, the cosmetic business. And as a result of that, Mr. Fred had his own oil that was made for black people to facilitate them having their curls moisturized. That's one part of this situation. The other part of the Jerry Curl equation that perhaps we can talk about is the side effects, not only from the hairstyles, but what got us to that level of styles in terms of hair and the different characteristics that went along with it and the circumstances. Mr. Fred's oil, unbeknownst to me, because I've never had a Jerry Curl, I had something called family planning in which it was kind of planned out. But for the most part, people allege that it would turn your hair a different color, red. I don't know. I've seen people that had Mr. Fred stuff in it turned red and orange, but I thought that was by choice when they did that. I didn't know it was
No, it definitely came from the effects of the oil.
Yeah.
It happened to too many people.
Well, I didn't know about the chemical imbalances that it caused in terms of one's inner being. But for the most part, I know this much, that the chemical ingredients that were in the processing of hair back then probably wouldn't be allowed by the Food and Drug Administration today, because it consists of a lot of ammonia and probably aluminum and things like that. So again, that justifies why so many of our brothers are bald-headed today.
We're talking about a time when crack cocaine, I call it, and then the other aspect was gorilla piss, PCP. Everybody knows that. There was so many chemical wars going on during that time. And it wasn't coincident. It was all on purpose. How does that all tie in to what factored in with everything to what was happening to us? Because now we in an era where megatons of cocaine is being dropped. You know?
I beg to differ with that last part of your question.
Okay.
Because when I was growing up and we were participating in foolishness, it was real cocaine. I think what they're bringing in the megatons now is fentanyl and synthetic drugs that emulate the effects of cocaine. So that's the first thing. I wrote an article once when I was a writer for the Los Angeles Sentinel called Dear Mr. President, Chemicals and Weapons of mass, biological, chemical, and weapons of mass destruction have hit the inner city. And what I meant by that was, it's not like someone dropped a napalm bomb on the community. Absolutely not. It was a little more effective than that. The fact that they have so many drugs in our community, PCP, fentanyl, white lightning, dog food, you name it, ecstasy, depending on the generation, depends on the drugs, Quaaludes, Valiums, T's, and Blues. So that was one attack that I felt was interesting that I had to write the president on. The number two is biological, weapons of biological mass destruction. When you have a community that's saturated with all these different diseases that have these strange acronyms like HIV and STDs and all these other things, you have to question yourself and ask, who's part of this extended version of the Tuskegee Institute, Tuskegee Airmen Institute, or Tuskegee experiments that they did on the black men back in the days? So is this a perpetual thing that's being done under the auspices of safety in the community, policing, or is this a plot by the pharmaceutical industry in order to facilitate making them wealthier?
Or was it just outright okay for them to use black people as guinea pigs?
Well, it's never okay to use any human being, but since we're both black, which black is not a people, it's a condition.
It's a condition.
So since we're both in that condition, I feel that any human being that oppresses another human being is absolutely in violation of God's law. On any level, whether it be black, white, green, or brown, I think that the universe should have a penalty for those type of people who intentionally and oftentimes successfully destroy a race of people or many variations of people.
Do you think our people really understand the chemical warfare that was being exposed to us or being directed towards us at that time? Do you think they really acknowledged that that's what it was, more so than people just waking up one day, decide to use this or use that, you know? Or we specifically were we just targeted, outright targeted?
I believe that that plan to help put our people in the perspective of being the users and abusers was by design, and it's still going on today. The modern rendition of chemical abuse or drug abuse comes by the way of drugstores. For example, when a drugstore opens in your community, it not only just opens one of like a CVS or what's the other one they have? Rexall, or what's the one like?
Oh, well, it was a Rite Aid or
whatever.
CVS,
But if you notice on Crenshaw, they have drugstores right across the street from each other, oftentimes adjacent to one another. That's because they did the feasibility studies already to determine what the conditions of these people are going to be like in the next 5 or 10 years. So when they do their feasibility study and they realize that you guys are victims of chemical warfare, and you have jerry curls in your mind, and psychological issues, diabetes, arthritis, sciatica, etc., then that feasibility study allows them to place these stores in these locations because, see, Walgreens and them could care less about that baby powder or those candy bars that you buy. Their number one seller are those drugs. And what's ironic about it is, oftentimes those pharmacists, they do make the drugs on premises. But who brings those drugs there, and what time of the night do you sneak them in? And how do you sneak them in? Do you sneak them in an armored truck? And where are they coming from? Sit.
Do you also think that they understood the struggles of the gangs and they was the perfect clients to put these chemicals in their hand? Because now it's ironic that PCP started here, Los Angeles. I call it gorilla piss, but PCP, right?
Right.
The recipe.
Right.
And then guys develop it and put it out in the streets, and it significantly it went around in other areas as well, right?
Right.
I don't think none of that is, again, I don't think none of that's coincident. I think it's all because they're saying that it came out of college. I don't know.
Well,
what's your perspective on that?
First and foremost,
And I knew Buddy.
First and foremost, no one in the community that I've come from or you that you know of are chemists. No one that I know where you and I come from in your listening audience manufacture chemicals. No one that I know or you know or your listening audience has the ability morally to create such a substance that would alter the state of not only just one human being, but many variations of races of human beings to the degree that they abandoned their real moral obligations. For example, cocaine is the first, I take it back, crack cocaine specifically was the first drug that has ever made a black woman first or any other woman leave her children. Heroin couldn't do it, pills couldn't do it, PCP couldn't do it, but crack cocaine was made by design specifically to target the black woman. That's the first thing. Second of all, when you have a people that are oftentimes as docile as ours and gullible and vulnerable and God-fearing, plus we're open to everyone's problems, it's easy to put a chemical on them unbeknownst to them. Look at the food. Look at Chick-fil-A burger, the hamburger patty. It has almost 47 different ingredients just in the bun. So chemical warfare and biological warfare is done strategically. It's not done openly. And people are oftentimes unaware of the things that kill them. They just started putting ingredients on packs of cigarettes telling you that it was hazardous to your health. So these people that are polluting the air every day, you pay for fresh air. When you live in the hood, you get hood waste air. When you live in the coastline or Calabasas or something, you get a different air. You get a different service.
How have we managed as a people to cope with the Tuskegee experiments, the bombing of Wrightwood, the bombing of Rosewood, rather, the bombing of Rosewood and bombing of Tulsa, and the hangings and everything and all the atrocities that happened to us in this country on purpose? How have we managed to cope with all that? And that's not even going down to the line of all the chemical warfares that has been put upon us. How have we managed to cope with all that?
Because God will never put a burden on a people that they don't have the strength to bear. So by him being the navigator of one's destiny, he's able to control those who wish to alter our state and our being with those type of substances. And our ability to endure the masses of anything that's placed upon us is part of our being created from God directly and personally and in his image. So the altering of our state as a people is done by design, but they plot and plan, but God also plans, and he's the best of planners. So that what they do is something that's an awful lot of cough syrup, don't get me wrong, but then on the contrary, we seem to always overcome it and then turn it into something else because the cream always rises to the top, even when you manufacture PCP.
Then came the cycle of criminalization. Do you believe that the criminalization of black individuals in our community is part of a larger systemic issue, or is it something obviously different? Because they try to make it seem like we just these criminals, like that's just, we wake up and just say, hey, I'm gonna be a criminal.
Well,
I'm gonna go to school and I just want to be a criminal. I don't want to be nothing else.
Well, we are, because we were taught by a criminal. And you act in the ways of those who enlighten you. See, that term was exacerbated during the Clinton era and Mr. Biden when they called us predators. Remember
Super
that?
predators.
When they said that the black youth and woman in America was born genetically inclined to commit crimes. They have a propensity for violence. So when you have those type of researches done and those studies and those social scientists making these analyses of a people that are very humble and kind and extremely creative, that offsets the plan to some degree to alter your state and not theirs. Because with them, everything is for profit, and with us, everything is based on the profit.
We can't excuse the Black Congressional Caucus. We can't excuse the clergy, the pastors, the bishops, reverends. We can't excuse, they all helped push that law into passing. They was all behind it. They got behind it. Not only with Joe Biden and some of the other racists that has was associated with that bill. I know people probably look at him differently later on or whatever, but we got to call a ball, a strike. What's your thoughts?
Well, by design, that was done in order to slow us down. That's almost like Tupac's song when he said, Brenda's got a baby. you know. And back then, when you had the people over practicing eugenics, like the lady who invented the abortion pill, what's her name? Margaret Sanger. Those type of ideologies and perspectives were transferred to the churches for cash and different institutions in order to justify them slowing down the population of our young girls that were fertile at that time, and in a very critical point in time in America when black people needed that fertilization for generational existence. On the contrary, when you start looking at these people that are criminalizing you, you know, when you point one finger, there's four fingers pointing at you. So obviously, if they have a perception of us to be just genetically, naturally, criminally insane, not only is that by design, but they're absolutely right. Because how can you not be genetically insane when someone has bred you like an animal, treated you like trash, and then infused in you self-hatred? What else could you possibly get out of that? 1 + 1 = 3 all over the world.
1 + 1 = 3?
Equals 3.
Explain.
Because if you do one person one way and you do another person one way and then you're the third party, that's a three-way. That's like a orgy.
1 + 1 = 3?
1 + 1 = 3 all over the world.
If you understand the formula.
You don't have to understand it. It'll find you.
Every time. Professor Malik, lock the door.
Proof of grind all the time, baby.
Yeah. Cali Miners, baby. Proof of grind all the time. Music money. Got a $sign. Hub City. I'm a street nigga. Streets fuck with me. I'ma keep pushing products till the feds get me. It's guap off top. Diamond Cartier. That nigga wall won't give a broke bitch the time of day. They see me climbing. They see me shining. That's hard work. Proof of grinding. New money got me tipping in that 550. Ali, bad man, and I'm so pretty. I got that tech with me. That's my hater sprayer. Go big, grind now, nigga, play later. What can I say?